Chad Brown with us, going to the Broncos. What's wrong with their offense?
Wow. Well, last week it was amazing to watch the domino effect of not having Ben Powers. Matt Pert that scared Sean Payton enough where in the second half, outside of essentially two play calls, he went super conservative. He went with the Hippocratic oath. He went with do no harm.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the pass call right there in front of the end zone, that was not a do no harm call. That was a major mistake. I think Sean Payton would love to have that call back. But I think that's frightened him enough. This game is probably going to be so close, I'm assuming Sean Payton thought, that I can't put my quarterback in a position where he get a strip sack or maybe a strip sack and a fumble. And this is how the Jets score their only touchdown of the game. I can't put my offense in that position.
So I was
So
going to
now with
just sorry to interrupt, but to your point, it's one thing that I talked about. There was a 3rd and 10 in that game from their own 18-yard line in which they ran the ball with Adam Prentice. Is that a part of it, you
yes,
think?
that was definitely part of it. And I've been a part of defensive led football teams where the coach recognizes if we don't make a mistake, we'll win. And so when I was with the Pittsburgh Steelers and we had the number 1 and number 2 ranked defense in the league, I know the fans hated it, but we won a lot of games 21-17, 14-10, and it wasn't poetic football offensively. It wasn't beautiful, but once we got enough of a lead, then Bill Cowher was willing to go super conservative. And if it was 3rd and 12, we ran a screen or a draw. Maybe we'd pick up the first down. Chances are we wouldn't, but we would give ourselves 7 or 8 more yards of field position to punt better and to lean upon our defense. And I don't think that's going to be the Broncos' style all season long. I just think Sean Payton found himself in a situation that they were not prepared for. They were not prepared to deal with Matt Pert being, I guess, injured in the end, and ineffective as he was. And there was nothing on his play sheet that was going to change that. And he was unwilling to draw up plays in the dirt. And we've seen bad coaches start drawing up plays in the dirt and they start to do harm rather than do no harm. So it's weird to say that was a really well called game from a Sean Payton perspective because there's certainly those 2 plays, the trick play in the second half and the pass play that ended up being the safety that I'm sure he would love to call back. But the thinking behind that conservative nature, I understand completely from a football perspective what he was doing.
All right, this week the angry mule arrives at Mile High Stadium, and that is Cam Scadaboo. He runs like an angry mule, a little bit of reckless abandon, and you see the highlights. He wants to run everybody over. Put yourself in a Broncos linebacker's body right now as a former backer yourself. How badly do these boys want to earhole this guy just because it's Cam Scadaboo?
There are certain backs, let's go with a former Giant, Brandon Jacobs, who run people over, but he was 260. It made sense for him for that to be his style. So there's backs who want to run people over who you're like, okay, I got to make sure every buckle on my chin strap and my shoulder pads, heck, even my shoelaces, everything's tied as tightly as possible just to give me a chance to get this big dude down. Scottaboo's not that size, but he plays with that mentality. So what you don't want is for him to somehow embarrass you at his smaller size and actually run you over and actually be able to play his style. Now, the run defense for the Broncos defense is probably the weakest part of it. And the inside linebacker group is probably the weakest group on this defense. It's an incredible defense. So that's not some diss. That's just kind of categorically ranking these guys. And we even saw the Jets first drive of the second half. They were able to come out and run the football down the Broncos' throat and get the ball to the red zone. Of course, we knew the field was going to compress and they were going to make a Jets mistake or the Broncos were going to limit them. But I'd imagine the Giants are looking at that and recognizing there's an opportunity to run the football. And our quarterback is playing at a much higher level than Justin Fields is. So if we can run the ball as the Jets were able to run the football and have some success in those limited opportunities, then we can do a much better job. Then our quarterback can take advantage of the defense stepping up in the run and get some play action pass or take advantage of man coverage and escape the pocket and be able to pick up a first down or run into the end zone. So the Giants have to view some of the things that the Jets did in a positive way going against this really good Broncos defense.
There was no flag penalty on the play. The entire Broncos linebacking core was simply overwhelmed.
Yeah, we played the clip last week.
Overpowered.
Chad. Overpowered. Yes.
Just
Whatever.
overpowered. Yes, I got the term wrong, but it doesn't make it any better. But I played long enough and played well enough where I recognize I can have some fun with myself.
Yes.
Everything was not an all-pro play. So I am working on a podcast with somebody that you guys know well, and it's probably going to be called Simply Overwhelmed.
Oh, I love it. Chad, last thing real quick. We just played a clip from Zaire Alexander, Colts linebacker, and he was asked about the fight that took place after the game Sunday night between Brian Branch and Juju Smith-Schuster, and he said 4 times in 20 seconds that Juju needed his butt beat. 4 times. I'm just curious, who's the player in your era that you said that guy needed his butt beat?
Ooh, Keenan McCardell. He was a receiver with Jacksonville, and he gave me a couple of cheap shots. Obviously, Jacksonville and the Steelers were in the same division, so I went after him after a game and was held back by my teammates. Now, I've known Keenan a long time. He and I have been on Pro Bowl teams. He's now coaching the league, and I never let him forget that at some point, retribution is coming. I am going to get you back. I know we are old men. I know we're not wearing pads anymore, but it's still coming. Because you can't just accept somebody cheap shotting you and getting away with it, particularly a 185-pound receiver. Are you kidding me? I'm going to choke you out at some point, man. It's coming.
We look forward to that during the broadcast.
Yes. So if you were Brian Branch, you're like, I get it. I get why he did what he did. It might not be smart, but I get it.
You prefer to get him back in, between the whistles.
Yeah.
And you would obviously love to get him back in a way that wouldn't cost you a game suspension or $100,000 or whatever's going to happen to him. But yes, I understand. I get it. I saw the cheap shot. It was a cheap shot directly in the back. Bad things could have happened. And he's got to know that that's never going to be okay. And you will pay for this, my friend.
By the way, Keenan McCardell, you're on notice, pal. You guys could be borderline on your deathbed. Chad will find you. Okay? Chad, always appreciate the time. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
I love that. It's just like, I will hold this grudge until I die. And
so when I see his ass in LA, I'm going to beat his ass.
Exactly right.